Hi, I'm Wendy Yi, and welcome to the Dice Tower. We are on to numbers 20 through 11 for my top 100 this week. We're almost done. We're so close to the best of the best of the best games. These are just the second to the best of the best of the best games, sir, with honors. I'm excited. I'm excited for this week. I'm excited for next week. So our top 10 is going to be live, or the top 10 of all time is going to be live during the Summer Spectacular. So stay tuned for that. So this is the last pre-recorded one, but hey, let's go ahead and get started. All right, starting off with number 20, I am a little bit of Cult of the New. This is from last year, and the game is Endless Winter. Now, what I really like about Endless Winter is that it is a mix of a deck building game with a worker placement game. So you have some workers, you've got like a big boy who does something extra when you put him out, but then you have some basic workers too. And you use those cards that you're drawing each round basically as your action points. And some cards will lean more into giving you action points for certain actions, like for example, crafting. You know, maybe this card is really good at crafting and only okay at doing everything else. Do I want to spend it for crafting? Is that what I'm trying to do this round? Or do I want to spend it for something else, have it be a little weaker, but it can boost up a different action that I have that I really want to take this round? So there's some good choices, some good push and pull. There's basically just 4 actions. There's 4 different worker placement spaces. Other people can go there. You get a benefit if you're the first one. And so it's just, it's this fun game of I'm interacting with other people because I want that first time bonus and I'm trying to figure out where you're going to go. But at the same time, I'm not blocked from anything. I can still do what I want to do. So there's so many different strategies and things you can lean into. I have so much fun with Endless Winter. So that's my 20. On to my number 19. This was another game from last year. So Endless Winter was my number 1 from last year, and this was my number 2. So this is Revive. I did inverse them as I was making this list. And I think I do like Revive just a little bit more, but I like them so similarly, which is why they're right next to each other. So Revive is another deck building game mixed with something else, but instead it's mixed with this like slotting action. And so there's some really cool engine building. And I think that this gives me a little bit more of those like engine building exciting moments. And that's why this one is just barely above Endless Winter for me. But basically, as you are playing your cards, you're slotting them, and you can increase the benefits of those slotted spots based on whatever color cards. So they look like little microchip things. I don't actually remember what they are. But basically, you put these little chips in the slots, and you can say, hey, every time that you put a yellow card here, you get 2 provisions. Pretty cool. Or anytime that you put a gray or a green card here, you can get, some other benefit. And so I really love that because you're like, oh, do I put them all on the same slot? Do I put them on different slots? Do I spread out my engine building? Do I focus in so that I have one really good card every round and I make sure that I get as much as I can out of it? There's just really, really fun decisions with that. And so this is one where you have your hand of cards, and instead of discarding your whole hand and drawing up 5 from a deck, instead what you do is you take everything from your discard pile, you put it in your hand, and then everything that you played that's on your board this turn, when you're ready to reset, you just discard it. And so you could do that really early because you want the benefits of resetting, or you could do it until you've played every last possible card, and then you pick up stuff. And so I really enjoy that idea of I will always get all of my cards. And so there's basically just a single round refresh between them. And so I really like that. And it's totally dependent on me, depending on when I want to do that refresh and basically take that whole turn to get everything back. So it's almost that like Last Light Concordia effect, Century Spice Road, where you're playing cards and then you pick them up, but instead you're exchanging them with your discard pile. So there's a little bit more of a cooldown there. So anyways, really enjoy Revive. That's number 19. Number 18 on my list has been around for a while. It was number 23 last year, so just a little bit of movement there. And this is my favorite tea game. So this is Teotiuokan. Everyone pronounces it differently. I once watched a special, clips of a special of like a bunch of different scientists that have historically researched this, and they all said it differently. So may that argument lay to rest. Say it whatever way you want to. So in Teotiuokan, there's basically it's a rondel of actions, but the actions, like the workers that you're using as you're moving around this board, are little dice. And you're not rolling the dice, which I love that you're not rolling the dice. Instead, you're pipping them up as you take actions with them. and the actions are all dependent on these little spreadsheets that are on each space. And so basically, the higher the numbers that you have, the more stuff you get. The more dice that you have there, the more stuff you get. And it's all dependent on the lowest die that you have there. So if you have a 1 and like 2 5s, you're like, ooh, oh, I just get 1 level action. But if you have 3 4s there, that's pretty rockin'. So I really enjoy, as you're moving around the board, the cool decisions. There's costs that if other people are there, but then there's also benefits if you choose to take like a Coco action instead of the basic actions on the board. So you're constantly working around other people and trying to figure out how to synergize with them while also trying to get everything that you want and be awesome. So really, really love Teotiuokan, plus that like pyramid thing in the middle is super cool looking. So that is my number 18. Number 17 on my list is another one that's been around for a while. So this is CO2. It was 10 last year. It's moved up to 17. Once again, not that far. So many good games come out. So many good games I've refreshed and reloved this year because I played them more. This one I played, I think, a little over a year ago, maybe about 2 years ago. So it's been a minute since I've played. I did get to teach it a year ago for sure at the previous Dice Tower East. But CO2 is basically a cooperative puzzle, and what you're doing is you're trying to protect the Earth from carbon emissions and all that kind of stuff. But what I really like about it, so this is a Lacerda game, and his games tend to be heavier, tend to be thinky, but I like that we're working together, and we have almost all the information that we need up front. So you know exactly what countries need, certain different types of power, you know all of your objectives, and you're just working together to make it the best that you can. And so I love it. There is, like every cooperative game, bad stuff happens at the end of certain rounds and stuff, but the bad stuff is so minimal and it doesn't really affect the choices that I make during the game. It's just kind of like luck of whether or not, you know, lots of carbon comes out or not a lot of carbon, because there's, I think it's between 20 and 50 are the ranges, and you're just pulling some tiles out of a bag. So it's, you know that stuff's going to happen, and it's not like Pandemic where you're like, ooh, the wrong card got pulled out and it triggered this, and we suddenly died. It's not like that. And so I really enjoy, like, this is one of my favorite cooperative games because it's just that puzzle from the beginning. And I think that that's so much fun. So that is my number 17, CO2. Number 16 on my list is another new one, but it's based on an old game, so I don't know if that counts as being new. So anyways, this is Splendor Dual. So in our house, I like Splendor. Chris thinks Splendor is very vanilla. Okay, fine. And I'm not great at Splendor, but I enjoy it. And so getting Splendor Dual, I thought that it was a much tighter game, a lot better at 2, and I get to enjoy that quick engine builder, just the quickness of all the things I love about Splendor with a little more interaction in a good way, a kind of a push and pull. So it has a board in the middle where there are different chips out, and so you have to pull rows and columns of chips, and if you have less than a row, then you get less chips, and that's okay. And so you can do diagonals and stuff, and then there are some specific chips that are like little pearls where you're trying to get those, you're trying to collect them for specific cards, and so you can play a little bit of keep away and stuff. I just think that there's a really cool, like they just added a lot of really cool little things that don't make the game bigger, don't make it harder. In fact, if you've played Splendor, it's a really quick teach, really quick learn. So it's like, it's really good, and it takes a game that I really enjoyed, and now I love it because, hey, I can pull it out. It's quick, it's simple, it's fun. It just meets that need that I have, that niche that I have. It's perfect at what it is. So there you go. Number 16, I believe, Splendor Dual. Next up, number 15 used to be number 12, and that's King Domino. So King Domino is one that I really love. There's these little domino-like shaped tiles that are very cute, and you're putting them out on a 5x5 grid, or if you play the 2-player variant, a 7x7 grid, which that's my favorite. I love building an extra big grid and drafting 2 tiles each round. So the way that you get the tiles is depending on the order of strength of the tiles. They're all numbered. You put them in order, and then you lay your meeples out, and you take turns choosing which one you're going to choose. Now, depending on where you are in that little rank track of numbers, that then determines the order that you choose the tiles the following round. So there's always that debate if you're like, ooh, I can get a really good tile this round, and I can get crowns and multipliers and all these good things, but then maybe next round something better will come out. Do I want to take the really good thing now, or do I want to leave it for someone else? Take something smaller that's still good for me, because then I will have more advantage next round to get something really good. So I just really enjoy the benefit of that. You never know what's going to come out. So you could have 4 really high tiles and everybody gets something good, or you could have 4 really low tiles, or you could have a huge mix. And so it's fun. It's a lot of fun. There's that fun little bit of interaction, but then you can build your board whatever way you want. So absolutely love King Domino. That's my number 15. Number 14 is The Crew. Now this was number 3 last year, so it has dropped quite far. It's no longer in my top 5. And I think that is just because we've played it as much as we are going to play it, basically. But for a long, long time, The Crew was like the game for me. I was like, oh, I don't want to play a game tonight. Hey, Chris, you want to play The Crew? Or I'm just really tired. Hey, you want to play The Crew? I don't want to think too hard, which is weird because it's cooperative and therefore it's very thinky. But it was the right kind of thinky for me when I was tired. So it just was that go-to game that I was like, do you want to just play The Crew? Like, this is just so easy. Let's just play The Crew. Let's just pull it out. Let's do the next scenario. Let's do another scenario. And so we played a lot of the first one. Then Mission Deep Sea came out and we didn't play it as much. And there's something about having the scenarios that I know can be beaten versus the random setup that it stopped speaking to me as much. And when I say as much, I mean, hey, it's still number 14 on my list. I still very much enjoy The Crew. So I just want to put that out there. But I think we just pulled it out less and less. But it's one I want to get back to the table because I do really enjoy it. I love the cooperative nature of it, where you have just a little bit of information that you can give, your objectives, and I especially love it at 2 players with the little AI deck on the side, the little Jarvis character that you're playing. I really enjoy that because you have more information, but you also have more hidden stuff where like you have to get 2 cards to be able to play them. Oh, it's so good. The more I talk about it, the more I want to play it. So there you go. That's my number 14, The Crew. My number 13 is Draftysaurus, and this was 69. So when we're talking about games that don't take a lot of time, this is definitely one of them. This is one of my go-tos of, hey, I don't want to play a heavy thinky game tonight. I don't want to go through all that work of learning something new. Let's play Draftysaurus. Also, this one has moved up so much because my daughter's right at that age where she can enjoy it. And so a lot of times, by the time school and homework and dinner and all that stuff is done, we don't have a lot of time to play games, but we like to do something as a family every single night. And so this is one that's so easy to pull out. It's 15 minutes. And literally we just have I think you pull out like a dinosaur of each color or something like that, depending on player count. And so we just have it set up ready for the 3 of us. It's ready to go. It's easy to play. It's quick. So that's why it's definitely moved up for me. It's just because I can pull it out literally any night. We can play it and it's a lot of fun. So that's my number 13, Draftysaurus. My number 12 is Hansa Teutonica. And when I think of dry Euros, I think of Hansa Teutonica. No, so this is a game that was 54, then 24, now 12. So it's definitely one that has just grown on me the more I play it. And what is really great about this particular game is that it's good at tons of different player counts, except 2. It is not good at 2. But this is one of my convention games. This is one of the games that I really enjoy playing with a lot of people. It goes well up to 5. I think I prefer it at 4, but like I said, it goes up to those 5 players just fine. And it's a game where you are trying to upgrade your kind of little tableau in front of you so you can do more. And you're making these choices of, do I upgrade my actions first? Do I upgrade my ability to get resources, like my cubes back out first? There's a lot of different ways that you can upgrade, but you're also balancing that with other people are trying to block you and get in your way. So there's a lot of positive interaction. There's these route looking things, and as you lay cubes on the route, once you fill up the entire route, you can pull them off and you can get a benefit. You can either like claim the city or you can get an upgrade if it's attached to an upgrade space. But other people can also put their cubes there if you don't fill in that space all in one turn, and then you have to pay 2 cubes to kick them out. But when you kick them out, they get additional cubes. So they're incentivized to go there, one, to get in your way, but also two, because that's a way to get more cubes on the board. And it's easier to move cubes on the board than it is to place new cubes on the board. And so there's such really good push and pull and interaction with that. And so nobody can completely block you forever, which I love, but also there's benefits for doing that. And so when you're playing a 4 or 5 player game, you've got that person that maybe they didn't get in on the actions that they wanted to, but they're going to spend half the game just getting in people's way, and that's still going to be a viable option for them because they're going to get so many more cubes on the board, and then they can move them all at once and they can get the stuff that they want. So I really love, there's so much good stuff here with Hansa Teutonica. If you are okay with dry Euros, if you look at it and you're like, oh, this game is ugly, I still recommend giving it a try. If you like the type of games that I like, it's really good. If you like positive interaction, if you enjoy engine building, it's good. It's so good. So anyways, that's my number 12, Hansa Teutonica. Last but not least, we have number 11. This is Airlines Europe. It was number 4 and number 5 for me the last couple top 100s that I've done. So it's always stayed right up there. We just replayed this. This is one of those that every time we visit home, every time we visit family, we play it. And you know what? I still love it. I still absolutely love it. So number 11. So Airlines Europe is a stock game where you're building up these airlines. But instead of everyone owning specific stocks, instead anybody can own this shares in the stocks, and you're building up kind of whatever you want to, whatever you're hoping you will have the majority in. And so there's some stocks that have very few planes and very few cards, and they're hard to build up big, but they do have some connection bonuses so that if you're able to connect specific routes with them, you get like suddenly a big increase in stock shares and prices. Whereas you've got other routes that have tons of airplanes, tons of cards, anybody can invest in them. And early on in the game, you're like, who knows who's going to end up with majority in this at the end? Do I want to invest in it? But also, you can bump those up really high because if you early on get some of the really big routes with them, they can just get all the way to the end of the track, get you 16 points per round. Like, they're really good, but also more easy for people to steal. So I really love the interaction of this. You are constantly shifting gears and kind of, shooting from the hip as you are making really good strategical decisions in what airlines to invest in, how to build those routes, and basically when you're going to play your cards in front of you so that people know what stocks you have. Because you could hold them close to the chest, but then it's a little bit harder to get money and you can't score them unless they're out. So there's so many like pushes and pulls and decisions. It's just really, really good. So that's my number 11, Airlines Europe. Thank you so much for joining me today. We have our last one, like I said, Summer Spectacular. Check it out next week. We're going to do it live. I'm just so excited. All of these games I want to play again. And it's a little bit sad to look at some of these and be like, oh, it's been 2 years since I played that game. Hopefully we'll get to some of these, especially my top 5. Definitely have played some of those. Love playing those. Oh, so good. So I have you on the edge of your seats, ready for next week, and have a fabulous day. I'm Wendy Yi. This is the Dice Tower, and keep playing games.